All right, so this is going to be a cool one to show some of the neat features in Desmos. So first off, I'm a big fan of visuals. We could put it into Desmos for sure, and actually let's do that. So to see what we have here, let's go full screen. We're not going to need our calculator. We'll use the Desmos one. And so we'll plot these points, and I like to label them. So in this case, A equals, or whatever variable you want. And I'll do enter, and I'll do B equals. And then we'll go ahead and label them as well by checking off that box. So try to visualize here. They're saying that the diameter, so let's connect these, of a circle. And remember, a diameter always passes through the center. So forgive my circle. I'm not very good at sketching those, but you can probably get the point. And so those are endpoints. We know that this is a diameter, this is the center. Well, they want us to come up with the equation of the circle, as you can see from the format here. And the standard equation of a circle is the quantity x minus h squared plus the quantity y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Very important to memorize that. And the center is always hk. In other words, opposite, opposite. And then on the right side, you have the radius squared. So if we know we need to find the center and the radius, let's start with the center, and you'll see why that's key here. Well, the center is halfway between these 2 points. In other words, it's the midpoint of those two. Now, you may not be aware, but there's a cool command, midpoint, parentheses, and you go ahead and put the points that we have. So A, comma, B. And then notice, I kind of blocked it here. It went ahead and plotted the midpoint. So let's go ahead and click on it so we can see what that point is. We can go ahead and also normally you can like export it over, but if for some reason that's not doing it, we'll just call it, let's say C. And again, we can see that that point is 1, 3, and we'll label it as well. But the significance is if we know that the center is 1, 3, and that in the equation of a circle you do opposite, opposite, instead of being positive 1 and positive 3 in the actual equation, it'll look like negative 1, negative 3. So let's go ahead and start eliminating answer options. So since this should be negative 1, negative 3, and these don't even have a 3 in it, we can eliminate the first two. And then these both have negative 1, negative 3. So what's the difference between the two? Well, it's what we have on the right side of the equal sign. And we know it should be the radius squared. So first we have to find the radius and then square it. Well, the radius is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. So I could really find the distance between the center and either this point or this point. Doesn't matter. In fact, we have another command, distance. Make sure we spell it right. Parentheses. And you can go from point A to our midpoint, point C. And really, it probably would have been wise. Let's call it M for midpoint. So we can go from A to the midpoint. We get 5. Or we could have gone from B to the midpoint. We still get 5. The fact that the radius is 5 and you have to square it gives you 25, making the correct answer D. Now, in case you're not a good speller, for example, no big deal. You click on the keyboard, go to functions, scroll down a bit, and what you'll see under geometry is you have distance and midpoint. So no biggie there. You don't have to worry about that. You could just click on them instead. But again, we get our answer is D.